Mita was walking barefoot through the mud puddles. The rain had stopped, except every once in a while it would drizzle a bit. The puddle completely disappeared.
Magic!
Mud oozed between Mita's toes and then mushroomed out onto each side toe. Mita imagined that the mud was wings forming on his feet, and that by flapping his toes, he would lift off the ground and fly. No other kids were out playing. They all had mothers that made them stay inside and watch TV when it rained. Mita's mother was never home. She would always say,
"Don't answer the door or the phone, Mita. Stay inside. I'll see you when I see you."
There was a wiggling between Mita's toes. It tickled, but Mita held perfectly still, like a ghost.
My wings!
Let me out of here! You have big feet.
They are only size 4.
If I had feet like that, I could swim fast and far. What's your name?
Mita Capon, what's yours?
Frederick the Third. My grandfather was the first. He produced 376 frogs. My dad was the second, and he produced 978 frogs.
Your eyes sure are tiny.
But I can see a lot. I have magical powers.
Mita slowly touched Frederick's back, feeling each little bump. Frederick thought this strange, but trusted Mita.
Magical powers!
What magic do you desire?
Flying magic! I want to fly.
No problem. If you want to fly, you will have to cleanse yourself off the weight to keep you on the ground.
I want to fly. I want to fly.
Do you hear me? If you want to fly, you will have to cleanse yourself off the weight to keep you on the ground.
I want to fly.
Mita, take me to a large body of water and I will show you how to fly.
I'll take you to the Lake Marie Bridge.
Mita and Frederick walked slowly, missing every puddle on the way. Mita closed his hand gently around Frederick and began to run, jump, and leap. He was flapping his arms with Frederick crunched inside his hand.
Mita, stop! I'm getting sick to my stomach.
Magic! Magic!
Set me down, Mita. You ever see a frog puke?
Mita held his hand level with the bridge rail. Frederick was off in one leap with his eyes closed.
The world is spinning.
I want to fly.
Close your eyes. Picture a bird flying. Flying very, very high. Easily. Imagine you are a bird. You know how to fly. You know how to fly. You know how to fly.
I see a bird, and the bird has my face. I feel the air all around me. I can see real far. I see other birds flying like me. I'm gliding like a plane. I see my school, my house, the Piggly Wiggly grocery store. I can go way up and way down. Fast, free, I am flying.
Keep going, Mita. Keep going. When you're ready, just let go of your feet. Leave the bridge behind you.
I am flying. I am flying.
Slowly, Mita left the bridge. He moved out over the water and turned lengthwise like a magic carpet.
You are doing it. You are flying.
Frederick jumped up and down, clapping his rear legs together. Mita opened his eyes to see where Frederick was. He saw Frederick for a brief moment, then smack, splash. Frederick dove in next to Mita.
Why did you open your eyes?
Mita was jumping up and down in a panic. He wasn't swimming, but bobbing. He moved towards the shore, gasping for air on every bob. When he reached the edge, he crawled out exhausted. He was covered with mud.
Let's try it again, Mita. You can do it. You are flying. Just don't open your eyes.
Mita looked at Frederick for a moment and started to walk away.
Mita, come back and get me. I can do magic. Mita, didn't you hear music?
Mita stopped. He did hear music.
Mita, take me with you, and you will learn how to fly.
Mita turned around and went back to pick up Frederick. Walking slowly home, he stepped in a few mud puddles, but more to wash off the mud than to have fun. Mita liked the feeling of having Frederick inside his hand. He could feel his stomach touch his hand every time Frederick took a breath.
How far is it, Mita?
We're almost there.
Don't worry, your mother won't know you've been flying.
Frederick, how do you know what is stuck in my mind?
Mita was glad he met a friend. He didn't have any brothers or sisters. His mother always told him,
Don't trust the neighbors. They don't like us, and we don't like them.
Frederick changed Mita's thoughts, and Mita smiled.
Frederick, how do you know what I am saying inside my head?
Magic. Magic can do anything.
Mita began to run again.
Magic can do anything!
Mita ran around the back of his house and down the basement stairs. There was a big pile of dirty laundry waiting to be washed. He set Frederick down on the washtubs and took off all his clothes.
Dip your muddy clothes in the water, then hide them in the middle of that heap.
Mita smiled as he realized he had an out to being locked in his room. Mita took Frederick, placed him on the top of his head, and slowly walked to his bedroom.
Frederick, this is our room. I'm going to fix you up a bed and give you a drawer all to yourself. What do you sleep on?
Oh, I sleep on my back, side. Depends on which way the music is coming from.
Music?
I always hear music. Music is where magic is. Magic is music, and music is magic.
Mita put on some clothes and began to clear out a drawer for Frederick.
I don't hear music. In school we have music class once a week, but I'm not very good, and my mom won't give me any money to take piano lessons from Sister Mary Snow.
Mita walked out the door and into the kitchen. He took a large jar out of the back of the cabinet so his mother would not miss it and returned to his room.
Mita, listen. Stop and listen. Close your eyes and just listen very carefully.
Mita sat down on the carpet, covered his eyes with his hands, and tried very hard to listen. At first, there was a hissing sound. Then he heard the music.
See? You can hear it too.
Mita opened his eyes.
Where did that come from?
Mita looked around the room. His mother wouldn't let him have a radio. She said it would wake her up when she wanted to sleep.
Mita, I told you it is magic. Ears are one of the magic instruments.
Frederick, you're fooling me. Come on, we have to set you up a good hiding place, or my mother will kill you. My mom says...
No pets or anybody else besides us in this house. We don't have enough food as it is. I can't take any more.
No problem. I can find my own food quite easily. Just put a little water in my jar, a tiny bit of fresh grass, and something very bright and soft for me to sleep on.
Mita darted out of the room, slowly opened the door to his mother's room, pulled a red soft hanky out of her top dresser drawer, and returned to his room.
How about this?
Perfect!
Mita ran outside and pulled some grass from the yard. When he returned, Frederick was not in his drawer.
Frederick? Frederick?
Shh! I'm waiting for my dinner.
Frederick was on the other side of the room, with his head stretched high in the air, mouth wide open and eyes closed. There was a loud slam from the front of the house. Mita leaped across the room, grabbed Frederick in one swipe, placed him in the drawer, and gently shut it.
Don't move or make noise until I come back.
This house is a pit. I hate it. Mita, come out here. Mita! Get your ass out here!
Mita messed his hair up so it would look like he had been sleeping. Even though he heard the music, he kept walking. He was afraid his mother had heard the music and she'd be madder. When he turned the corner to the living room, she was slumped in the corner of the couch with her feet up. She smelled like mouthwash and was mumbling.
Fucking rain.
Mita's mother's shirt was ripped all the way down the front and her knee was bleeding. Mita went to her room and got her a new blouse. He went to the bathroom, wet a washcloth, and removed the Bactine from the medicine cabinet.
Mom?
If she heard the music, she wasn't reacting to it. Mita laid the unripped blouse over his mom and cleaned her knee. When he put the Bactine on her knee, it fizzed a bit and she jerked, but she was asleep.
Mita, let me out of here!
Mita stared up at his mom and folded his hands in prayer.
Please, God, don't let her wake.
Mita ran back to his bedroom and opened Frederick's drawer. Frederick was swimming around the jar on his back.
It's too dark in here when you close the door.
Mita pulled a box from under his bed and removed a flashlight.
I won this at the church pancake breakfast. For every hour I worked, I got one chance. I worked 4 hours and won 2 prizes. Look, it's rechargeable, so we can plug it in when it gets low.
Yeah, and it will also be a nice heater. Turn it on and put it in here. I'm almost done with my swimming. That'll be ready for a nice little artificial sun.
I'm going to cook a chicken TV dinner with peas and mashed potatoes. Do you want some?
Nah, you go ahead, Mita. My dinner's still flying around this room.
Frederick, please keep the music down so you won't wake my mom.
She doesn't hear the music, Mita. Don't worry, only you and I can hear the music.
After dinner, I want to fly, Frederick. I'll show you how God appears if you teach me how to fly.
Listen to the music. Flying is a privilege and a big responsibility.
Mita didn't understand Frederick, but he liked him. Mita ate his dinner before it was cooked. After dinner, Mita peeked around the corner to see his mom still asleep. He tiptoed to his room and slowly shut the door. Mita stood still, trying to sense where Frederick was. He was hard to spot, but the first place Mita looked, there he was, sitting on Mita's pillow. Mita crawled onto his bed and put his head on the pillow, looking Frederick directly in the eyes.
You know, Mita, you can see everything about a person just by looking into their eyes.
Your whole eyeball shows. Why doesn't it fall out?
I have a thin layer of invisible skin that holds it in.
Mita tried to imitate Frederick, but his eyes went all over the place. They both began to laugh, trying to watch each other's eyes go round.
Shh, shh. If we wake my mom, she'll shh. Okay? Frederick, please don't wake her.
Mita, I don't control the music.
There were footsteps from the living room. Mita grabbed Frederick in his hand and put him under the pillow, closed his eyes pretending to be asleep. The door flew open.
No, mister. You're not going to sleep without a bath.
Mita sat up fast as his mom turned around to exit.
The meter better be plus 35.
Mita got up and gently closed the door. Within a few minutes, his mom left, saying,
I'll see you when I see you.
Mita went over and pulled Frederick from under the pillow.
Mita, it was hot and dark in there.
Sorry, I didn't want her to see you.
And what's this? The meter better be plus 35.
Mom writes down the numbers from the water meter, and 35 is what it takes to take a bath. I usually just fill the tub and let it out.
Let's you and I go for a swim in the tub.
I don't want to.
Come on, Mita. I would like to swim with you.
Reluctantly, Mita filled the tub and they both got in. Mita was afraid of water. When he was small, his mother forced him to take baths. He didn't like baths. But having Frederick with him was more fun, and he was a little dirty from the river.
Frederick, I'd really rather fly than swim.
Frederick was speeding around the tub, going under Mita's knees and circling him like he was a mountain. Frederick then climbed up Mita's arm and sat on his shoulder next to his ear.
I like to swim. Flying and swimming are really the same, except one is with air and one is with water.
Who taught you how to swim?
Why, no one. I always know. Nobody told me I couldn't swim.
I don't know how to swim.
But Mita, you swam in the river today.
I could touch bottom. I was jumping off the bottom.
But Mita, if the bottom wasn't there, you would have swam.
I can't. I don't know how. It scares me.
Fair enough. I'll teach you how to fly.
Mita looked at Frederick with amazement.
Do you believe me?
I want to fly.
Frederick hopped closer to Mita's ear.
I trust the water, and you trust the air. I can swim, and you can fly.
Frederick was looking at a green rubber frog with a red tongue and big eyes that Mita had on the side of the tub.
Mita, look! You've had me here all along.
I call him Fred.
Frederick was swimming again.
See? You just don't think about it. Close your eyes, Mita. Think you are a bird. You're just flying around, like I'm swimming around you. Breathe. Exhale. You're flying. I'm swimming.
Mita closed his eyes and saw this big lake where he couldn't see the shore. The top of the lake was like a mirror, very calm. He could see Frederick's legs open and shut as his arms formed little hearts while he swam. Frederick was swimming, and Mita was flying. Frederick was up on the faucet when Mita opened his eyes.
Frederick, I felt my heart pounding. There was a big lake, like a mirror. You were making little hearts with your arms. You were swimming, and I was flying.
Good, good. You see your vision. You can do it. You can do it.
I've always wanted to take a bath with somebody.
Me too.
Frederick dove off the faucet and swam underneath the water to the other side.
Frederick, how do you breathe underwater?
I don't. I just hold my breath until I want more air.
Mita stepped out of the tub and dried himself off. He took a washcloth and dried Frederick too.
That feels good, Mita. I never had anybody dry me off before.
You want to see God now?
Mita took his towel and laid it on the bathroom floor. He opened the cabinet below the sink and removed a loose board. He brought out a large white candle with a red cross on it. Mita lit the candle and bowed.
It didn't work. I thought it would work with you here.
Mita, it did work. Didn't you feel God?
No.
Yes, you did. I was watching you, and your whole body lit up like the candle. The red cross was pulsating. God was in the music.
Mita blew the candle out and placed it back in its hiding place.
I'm tired. Let's go to sleep.
Mita placed Frederick on top of the red hanky. He then climbed into his sleeping bag, leaving the lights on because he was afraid of the dark.
Mita, I'm glad we are friends. Thanks for bringing me home.
Mita didn't answer because he was asleep. Mita was up early the next morning. He rushed over to Frederick's drawer.
Frederick, I had a dream you were swimming and I was flying.
You've seen your vision, Mita. I had a bad dream about your mother.
They both looked at each other in silence and sadness. Then Mita snapped like a firecracker.
Today I'm going to take you on my bike to school.
Mita cut a small hole in the front of his cap and placed Frederick underneath the cap on top of his head.
Wait till you see this, Frederick.
Mita and Frederick were off on the bike. At first, Frederick really held on to Mita's hair.
Mita, is it so bumpy?
Just relax and balance. You won't fall. Do you feel the wind hitting your face?
Frederick slowly inched up more towards the hole in Mita's hat. When the wind hit his face, he knew the magic to bike riding. Mita rode very fast, and then he would just glide. Frederick had never seen so much scenery so fast.
Mita, I love this! We're flying!
They arrived at St. Eugene's school. Mita gently removed his hat with Frederick inside. He went to the bathroom and took Frederick out of his hat and placed him in a Sucrets container with holes in the top.
Frederick, if you want out or anything, just say so and well, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do something.
What is this place?
Frederick was looking at all the urinals against the wall.
This is the boys' bathroom. We get to come here twice a day, once at 10:30 and once at 2:30.
Mita and Frederick whisked off to Mita's classroom, room 8.
Good morning, Sister Mary Lynch.
Good morning, Mita. Give this to your mother. It is time for our parent-teacher conference. Make sure she gets it. Last time she didn't come because she said you didn't give her the notice.
Mita took the paper and put it in his pocket near Frederick.
Okay, boys and girls, today is Easter Wednesday, so let's start the day with a little catechism. Number 91. What were the chief sufferings of Christ?
The chief sufferings of Christ were his bitter agony of soul, his bloody sweat, his cruel scourging, his crowning with thorns, his crucifixion, and his death on the cross.
Very good, class. Number 242. What are we commanded by the fourth commandment?
By the fourth commandment, we are commanded to respect and love our parents, to obey them in all that is not sinful, and to help them when they are in need.
You're all doing so well. Later today, we're all going to church to pray and go to confession to prepare us for Good Friday and Easter Sunday.
What a god-awful way to learn.
Mita stared at Sister Lynch to see if she heard Frederick. She paused in silence and looked around the room. When she looked at Mita, she froze on him like he'd been caught.
Stop having those thoughts, Mita Capon.
Don't be afraid of her, Mita. She can't hear me. Don't give yourself away.
Mita raised his eyebrows and looked confused back at Sister Lynch.
Just quit daydreaming, Mita.
Mita smiled and looked down into his pocket where Frederick was.
Now, class, I'm going to read off your spelling words, and I want you to write them down. The ones you miss, you'll have to write out 25 times.
Mita hated spelling. He always had to write out most of the words. It took up so much time.
Mita, I'll help you.
Unknown.
UNKNOWN.
Acknowledge.
ACKNOWLEDGE.
Obsession.
OBSESSION.
Mita was spelling the words in his head, then on paper, but he wasn't struggling like he usually did. He erased a bit, but when he rewrote, he saw the word clearly.
Now exchange your paper with your neighbor.
Sister went over the spelling. When Mita got his paper back, he was shocked to find he had not missed one.
How many people did not miss any?
Mita raised his hand.
Mita, let me see your paper.
Sister Lynch looked at Mita's paper very carefully. She went to her desk and removed a little blue ribbon that said effort on it. She pinned it on Mita's shirt, hitting the sucrettes box.
Mita, what is this?
Sister Lynch pulled the sucrettes box from Mita's pocket.
Are you eating candy again in class?
No, Sister Mary Lynch. It's for my magical frog, Frederick.
Sister Lynch looked at all the holes in the top and threw the box in the garbage.
I've told you, no more daydreaming. Now let's do some drawing.
Mita could not think of anything but how to get Frederick out of the garbage.
I'm not in the garbage, Mita. I'm right here.
Frederick was sitting in Mita's pocket. Mita pulled out his Crayolas. He only had the small set, but he still had the basic colors.
Okay, everybody. I want you all to come up here and show us your drawing and tell us about it.
Jeannie was always the first to go. She was a good drawer and had the big box of crayons, so she had lots of colors. Mita was next.
This is my house. This is my room. This is my brother Frederick, who is a frog that can fly.
The room laughed.
Class. Mita, what did I tell you? Who is that lady?
That's my mom.
The room broke out in laughter again. Mita went back to his seat. His right foot began to jiggle up and down, and he was chewing on his nails.
Mita, it's okay. You did good. I like your drawing, especially me.
Class, we're going over to church now.
Mita and Frederick went to church with the rest of the class. Mita rose from his assigned seat and stood in the line to Father Thomas's confessional. Father Thomas always had the longest line, while Father Ryan never had anyone. Father Ryan was mean. Mita was waiting with his back to the confessional when Father Ryan opened his door and walked over towards Father Thomas's line. Father Ryan's white holy scarf was flapping behind him as he walked.
Some of you come over here.
Everybody in line shrunk. Nobody wanted to go. Last time Mita went to Father Ryan, he had to say 5 rosaries for penance. Mita left the line and knelt in front of a Station of the Cross. He was praying,
Please, God, don't make me go to Father Ryan.
Father Ryan came right over to Mita.
You don't start at the 6th station. Now go into my box.
Mita opened his eyes to see a long, outstretched arm pointing him in the direction of Father Ryan's confessional.
Who does he think he is?
Mita jumped up and held his hand over his pounding heart to silence Frederick. Father Ryan proceeded to send a line over behind Mita. All the little kids looked down as they mechanically lined up. Mita went inside the box and pulled Frederick out. There was a loud slam from the other side and a quick opening of the little door between Mita and Father Ryan.
Okay, go on.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been...
Mita, you have not sinned.
How long? How long?
Mita, tell him you don't know how long it has been since you sinned.
I have not. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Can't you count? Are you trying to be a smart young man?
If
If you had a father, I'd call him into the rectory and have a good talking to him about you. Now get on with it.
I lied 5 times a day. I disobeyed my mother 5 times a day.
Mita, you did not.
I did not.
You did not what?
Frederick jumped from Mita's hand onto the shelf in front of them. He spit a fine spray through the screen onto Father Ryan's face. Father Ryan began to sneeze uncontrollably. Frederick rolled over on his back and started to laugh. Mita held his hand over his mouth and nose so he wouldn't laugh out loud.
You say 5 Hail Mary, and then you say 5 Father!
Father Ryan exited with his sneezes echoing throughout the church. The line that was outside his confessional slowly wound its way back to Father Thomas's. Mita placed Frederick on top of his left hand and cupped his right palm over him and exited the confessional.
Let me see some of these statues, Mita.
This is Mary holding the baby Jesus. All these people at their feet are burning in the fires of hell.
What did they do?
They were never baptized, so they can't go to heaven.
That's a lie!
Mita covered Frederick up and moved onto the statue of two angels.
Look at their wings, Frederick. Aren't they beautiful?
Frederick just stared at the pair of angels in their blue robes with huge white wings. Each was holding a large lit candle.
Those candles look like the one under the sink that you see God with, Mita.
I put my money in a box, and I took the candle home so I could see God and learn how to fly.
Who's that?
They walked to the front of the church and knelt at the altar railing.
That's Jesus on the cross. This is the week he dies.
Mita made the sign of the cross while placing Frederick on the altar railing when his hand was in the down position.
Wasn't he baptized either? Is that why they're torturing him?
Jesus died to save all of us.
Not me. Not those guys who are burning at Mary's feet.
Sister Mary Lynch was coming towards them. Mita leaned his head down on the railing, covering Frederick with his neck space. Sister Lynch hit Mita in the back of his head, causing his head to bounce off the altar railing. As Mita's mouth opened in a silent ouch, Frederick jumped in and climbed under Mita's tongue.
Mita, don't say a thing. Just shake your head. This woman is extremely dangerous and crazy.
Did you make Father Ryan sick?
Mita's head was pounding from the knock. He didn't know what to say. He shook his head slowly no.
The devil is in you.
Sister Lynch grabbed Mita by his neck and marched him over to the holy water fountain. She flicked holy water on Mita's face.
Now go back to your seat and think about why Jesus is dying on the cross to save you.
Mita walked back to his seat. He couldn't tell the difference between the holy water and his tears. He put his hand to his mouth and gently scooped Frederick up with his tongue and placed him back inside his praying hands.
Frederick, I want to fly.
Mita's forehead hurt from hitting the altar railing. He took some ice and wrapped it in a washcloth. He and Frederick laid on his bed as he held the ice against the bump.
Frederick, I can't forget to give this note to my mother.
Mita reached into his pocket and pulled out the slip Sister Lynch gave him. He got out of bed and placed the slip on the kitchen table under the bottle of aspirin. When he laid back down, he fell into a deep sleep. Mita felt a tickle climbing up his right leg, going towards his bow wow. It was like a drop of water running in reverse. A dog barked off in the distance, one he had never heard before.
Frederick, is that you?
The tickle seemed to stand still in one place with light pressure the size of a dime. Frederick did not answer. A man approached him. Not a real man, but a dead man. He looked like he'd been eaten away. He had only one leg and one arm. Skin clung off his body like fabric blowing in the breeze. Mita was not afraid of him until he said,
I am Father Ryan. Why did you kill me?
Mita looked deep inside Father Ryan's hollow eye sockets.
You died?
Father Ryan pressed a finger from his only arm right on the dime spot where Mita had felt the tickle. Mita took a quick deep breath and held it.
I am your father. God made me your father. Now you have no father. Feel this.
Father Ryan poked the dime spot harder. The spot felt hot or cold. Mita did not know which.
Ah!
Mita swallowed very hard and tensed his neck.
Frederick!
Mita was pulled downwards in his bed so his legs hung over the edge. He was trapped in his sleeping bag.
Frederick, help me!
Mita felt someone leaning towards him as a loud humming sound got louder. The dime spot started to tickle again and move upwards. A comb was going back and forth over his head. A hand was turning his head side to side with the buzz getting louder as it went past his ear.
Meeta, fly!
Mita lifted out of his sleeping bag like a jet taking off. Frederick was stuck to his forehead just above and between his eyes. Mita could see his body down in the bed, but he was not in it. His mother was there with the hair clippers cutting his hair.
If I have to go to your school, I don't want to hear about long, dirty hair.
Mita began to cry because the dime spot hurt and cut hair was in his eyes.
You did it, Meeta. You flew all by yourself.
I'd better not get any bad reports on you, my little man, or there'll be hell to pay.
Mita stopped crying and looked around to see where Frederick was. He was nowhere to be seen.
Mom, I saw Father.
You don't have a father.
Mita's mother exited the room by slamming the door so hard Mita's ears popped. Mita rubbed the bruise on his leg as Frederick hopped out from under the bed and onto Mita's pillow. Mita walked over to his mirror. His hair was all gone and little dents were in different places. Frederick was smiling.
You can fly better without hair. It only gets in your way.
I hope so. If I ever fly, I'm going to fly as far away from here as I can.
The next day, Mita rose early. He didn't really know which part of the night before was real. He ran to the mirror. The haircut was real.
Meeta, I like to stay home today.
Frederick, all the kids are going to make fun of my haircut.
No, they won't.
They always do.
They won't this time.
Mita thought about just forcing Frederick to go, but then he remembered Sister Lynch had thrown away Frederick's sucrettes box. She'd be checking today, too.
Okay, but after school, I want to show you something that flies.
Mita rode to school slow. He wanted to miss school, but didn't know how. If he had killed Father Ryan, what would Sister Lynch do to him? Mita wandered in at 8:19, 1 minute before the bell rang. He entered his classroom expecting a bunch of laughs.
Mita, you look so neat and handsome. Doesn't he, class?
They all shook their heads yes. As Mita took his seat, he was so stunned he held his breath and felt pressure building in his neck. His ears felt hot like never before.
Hi, Meeta.
Mita's body flinched and his mouth opened slightly. Frederick was close by.
Frederick?
Mita, how do you spell caught?
Frederick, where are you?
I'm laying on your pillow.
You're not here?
Mita? Mita?
Sister Lynch started walking towards Mita. The entire class followed her movements.
You mean I can talk to you from here in my thoughts?
Meeta, spell C-A-U-G-H-T. Now, fast, out loud.
C-A-U-G-H-T.
Mita looked up to see Sister Lynch appear automatically at his side.
What took you so long, Mita?
I was sounding it out.
Well, that's correct.
Mita talked with Frederick throughout the day. Frederick would always remind Mita to pay attention to class and would warn him if Sister Lynch was going to call on him. After school, Mita rode home faster than ever.
Come on, Frederick. It's time for the surprise.
Open your pocket.
Mita held open his pocket, and Frederick did this beautiful leap, twist, and somersault right into it.
That's good, Frederick. Close your eyes.
Frederick closed his eyes. He heard stirring and Mita blowing air out.
Okay, open your eyes.
Mita was blowing bubbles. Some were landing on Frederick and popping. They made the cutest little noise in his ear when they popped. Some got in his eyes and made them water, but it was all so beautiful.
Mita, the fly!
Frederick, I want to be a bubble so I can fly.
You can do it, Mita. Remember the bridge? Here, give me that wand.
Frederick took the bubble wand and put a spray of spit on it. He blew a big bubble. Frederick's eyes started to water from the thought that Mita would fly.
Mita, the water in my jar is magic water. It makes big bubbles. If you make a bubble as big as yourself, you will fly.
Will you help me?
I can't help you. Only you can do it. Just remember, the water in my jar makes bubble as big as yourself.
You said you would help me fly.
I am helping you.
I'm not afraid.
That's why you're going to fly, Mita. You don't need me.
I want to fly. I want to fly.
The sun set as Mita was blowing the last of his bubbles away. Mita and Frederick went inside.
Mita, can I eat dinner with you tonight?
As long as Mom doesn't come home. If she does, you know what to do.
They had a fun dinner together. Frederick made fun of Mita's fried chicken, and Mita made fun of Frederick's fly.
You know, Mita, some people eat frog's legs.
Yuck! Not me!
The night went by fast, and both were in bed before the clock counted out 9.
Frederick, tomorrow is Good Friday. It's a day of extreme penance because it's the day that Jesus died on the cross. We get out early so we'll have more time to play.
Tomorrow, you will fly.
Mita was asleep and did not answer. All the way to school, Mita heard the music. He was lost in the world of music that Frederick provided.
Mita, look down. See that rock?
Mita looked down and saw the small gray rock pass under his foot as he pedaled.
Stop, Mita. Pick it up. It is your power rock.
Mita pushed his feet backwards, causing the bike to skid as he turned it around. He went back to the rock. He had never looked down when he was riding. He always looked up at the birds flying overhead. Mita picked up the rock.
How does the rock feel, Mita?
Mita felt the rock and rolled it around in his hand. It had a little cut on the top and was narrow on the bottom. The sides were bulged out.
Squeeze the rock, Mita.
As Mita squeezed the rock, it began to move. Mita dropped it and stared at it on the ground.
What did it feel like, Mita?
It was alive. It felt like my heart pounding.
Mita, just put it in your pocket. You'll need it later.
Mita put the rock in his pocket, then rode the rest of the way to school. When he got to school, it was 8:30. He was late. He entered the room. Sister Lynch stopped talking to the class and stared at Mita. He could feel the rock moving in his pocket as his heart pounded.
Your mother was here last night for your parent-teacher conference. I would think you'd be on time today.
I had trouble with my bike, Sister Mary Lynch.
There are no excuses for being late, young man. You'll have to stay after school for 1 hour.
Yes, Sister.
Mita went to his seat. Sister Lynch was running through the morning ritual of catechism questions, but Mita couldn't hear anything. His mind was totally silent.
Number 251. What is the fifth commandment of God, Mita?
Mita, say the fifth commandment of God is, thou shalt not kill.
Mita,
Thou shalt not...
the fifth commandment of God is, thou shalt not what?
No!
All the kids in the room jumped. Mita was shocked at the sound of his own voice. Sister Lynch was walking towards him.
Mr. Mita, you'll be staying 2 hours after school now, and if you don't answer number 251 right now, you'll be here for 3. The same amount of time that Jesus was hung on the cross.
Kill. The fifth commandment of God is thou shalt not kill.
Mita reached down and held the rock through his pants. It felt warm against his cold hand. His nose started to run, but he did not cry. Sister Lynch walked back up to the front of the room. Some of the children were still looking at Mita, but he didn't care.
Mita, when you get home, you will fly.
All Mita could think about was having to sit for 2 hours with Sister Lynch. She would make him sweep under all the desks, then clean the blackboard and empty the trash.
Mita, it won't be as bad as you think.
Everyone have a happy and holy Easter.
Mita stayed seated. After everyone left, Sister Lynch came over and sat down next to Mita.
Did your mother talk to you about our conference?
Mita shook his head no. He hadn't even seen his mother since the conference.
She was pretty mad about your drawing. Now sweep under the desks and maybe you'll get out a little bit early.
Mita moved fast for the little hand broom. He was small enough to crawl under the row of desks and push the broom in front of him. As he was in the middle of the third row,
Mita, your mom is home and she's very mad.
Mita stopped, sat up, and hit his head on the desk hard.
Are you okay, Mita?
Mita, she's calling my name. She said, how dare you draw her as a witch?
Mita exited out the side of the desks, ran out the door and down the hall, with Sister Lynch running behind him. He could hear her rosary beads slapping against each other as she ran. He hopped on his bike.
Mita, your mother is going to be coming back in and you're going to be staying after school for a very long time.
Mita pedaled faster and faster.
Frederick, get out of the house. She's trapped me in the jar. She's mad about us using her favorite red hanky for my cover.
Mita was struck by a car. His bike was down. He held on to the power rock. There was this large lightning flash, and Mita was back in his bathroom. Frederick's jar was broken in the toilet, with the red hanky almost flushed down. The magic rock was pounding, but Mita had no pockets. Huge bubbles came out of the toilet. The big white candle was burning, and the red cross pulsated the same beat as the power rock. Mita saw this big lake, where he couldn't see the shore. The top of the lake was like a mirror, very calm. Frederick was swimming, and Mita was flying.